And as soon as I hit the lights on, in the police world, the chase was on. So he floored his car and took off. Thank God it was light traffic, so it wasn't that much of a danger to people. We picked up our speeds, getting very fast on a highway, going eastbound. And at one point, there is a railroad crossing bridge in our city, or in the next city east of us. The driver decided to throw a weapon out the window.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty and sacrifice
of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. If you've never seen the show before, the way that it works is this. We invite first responders, veterans, active, retired, doesn't matter. They come on into the show. They bring a bottle of whiskey for the whiskey wall. We share a couple cocktails. They tell you about a good day and about a bad day. We're not at the whiskey wall today. We are here on location in Windsor, Connecticut, where the Windsor Marriott was kind enough to host us for Operation Innocence. So super excited to meet you. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
My name is Sweatland. I'm the president of Emergency Operations Proving Grounds. I'm also a full-time police officer and a former United States Marine.
Man, I was so excited when we connected for the first time because you are the definition of patriot rolled up into like a badass Texan.
Thank you.
So why don't we start there? You want to talk about a good day or about a bad day?
Why don't we get the bad out of the way first? And what I consider a bad day might not be bad to others, but it was an eye-opening day. If that's okay with you.
Please.
So I was on patrol, this was years ago, and I was currently assigned to the Canine Division. So I had a dog with me. She was a black lab. Her name was Mary Jane, and she was great at finding narcotics, hence the name. So it was coming to the end of my patrol shift. It was around 2 a.m. I was creeping up towards what's called the north side of the city. I had a take-home car knowing that I got to leave at 3, so I was kind of staying up north because I got to hit the highway. There was no calls. As I'm sitting in this area, I noticed a four-door car. It was a Lincoln Town car, exit a row of businesses where you had all these late-night fast food joints. When he exited, it was strange because he didn't have his headlights on, and I'm sitting at the exit of an apartment complex, and he rolled by me. Obviously, my car is very well marked, police, canine, all over it, stay away type of thing on the car. And I noticed 2 males in the vehicle. Both windows were down and the headlights were still off. So obviously, anywhere in the country, you have to have probable cause to stop a vehicle. Now I have probable cause, and that's obviously weird too. That, you need your headlights on. So I pull behind the car and he starts slowly running stop signs, trying to get down to the highway. I pick up my microphone to go let dispatch know and the other officers about to make a traffic stop just for safety. We don't just do it automatically. As I go to pick up the mic, the dispatcher keyed up first and said, "All units be advised, we just had an armed robbery at said location," which was one of those fast food restaurants. Described the car and the 2 males inside the vehicle, which I already made a visual on when they passed me. So now it goes from a traffic stop, possible drunk driver that had no lights on, to a huge pucker factor that both these gentlemen are armed,
right,
or possibly armed based on the facts known to us. So I tell everybody I'm behind the vehicle. This was immediately after they put the broadcast out, and I need more units to come to my location. I'm about 4.5 to 5 miles of congested roadway from the closest officer. He's getting onto the highway. I have to initiate something to hopefully he'll slow down, and then for safety reasons, we'd be able to roll into what's called a felony traffic stop. But I went ahead and lit him up because I heard units coming to me code. Now that means with lights and sirens. And as soon as I hit the lights on, in the police world, the chase was on. So he floored his car and took off. Thank God it was light traffic, so it wasn't that much of a danger to people. We picked up our speeds, getting very fast on a highway, going eastbound. And at one point, there is a railroad crossing bridge in our city, or in the next city east of us. The driver decided to throw a weapon out the window. The velocity of the car is going, and I'm so close to him, that firearm comes back, hits my front windshield and goes off because there's one in the tube. I already have my windows cracked all the way around because I'm a canine officer and it smells like a dog in the car. I'm always trying to get fresh air in there.
Yeah.
So at that point, when I say that's a bad day, is a weapon just went off, the muzzle flash went off, and it was a real loud boom. Where did the round go? I'm worried about passerbys, people walking, apartment complexes in the area. And then, of course, secondly, I'm worried about myself and my dog. So I'm checking my dog out while still driving at over 100 miles an hour, still chasing this car, calling out the location of where the weapon went out. Thank God nobody was injured. Detectives were able to find the gun the next day. I say the pursuit ended peacefully because he wrecked out and the 2 occupants were not injured and they were placed into custody, went through due process of law, and no officers were injured. So a bad day turned into a good day, but for that millisecond when that gun hits your window, you know, were you hit, was somebody else hit? It's just right there in front of you, and it was just a very close call.
Wow. How about a good day?
A good day. That would have to be when I received what's called an EGA from the Marine Corps, and that's the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. My father was an officer in the Air Force. I'm not going to go into his amazing career. And I remember the day that I called him and said, Dad, I've decided to join the military. And I knew myself that the military would be the better way to go because school wasn't that exciting to me. So he said, great. When are you going to OCS for the Air Force? And I told my dad, no, I've decided to work for a living. I'm going to be a United States Marine. So that being said, it was a funny pun, and he had some jokes to go along with it. Obviously, he was supportive. But I didn't prepare myself for the Marine Corps like everybody else. I didn't watch the movies Full Metal Jacket, which I love that movie now. I've never seen anything like that. My recruiter didn't prepare me. I wasn't in a Pool E program. So all I had was a pamphlet with a really cool blues uniform, and it said, wow, I bet girls are going to think I'm hot when I get to wear that. So, and I get to carry a gun in a sense of to protect our country, and I thought this was pretty neat. So I went to Parris Island because I was recruited out of Ohio in high school. And when my body hit the yellow footprints when you got on Parris Island, my whole world was flipped upside down. From being a teenager in high school, having pretty much everything I wanted because I worked for it and had great parents, to you now belong to the government, we're going to train you properly how to defend our country. And that just being said, the discipline that comes along with it. I didn't know why I had these bodybuilder looking guys yelling at me because I could hear fine. And yelling at me to do push-ups, and I said, no thanks, did some last week. So I didn't know, I was the poster child for, you came in a screw-up, so to speak, without the discipline to at the very end of meritorious promotion to you, now you are the poster child for the Marine Corps in a good way. So the great thing of going through, you know, all those months of training with the Marines to being handed an Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, being a part of this amazing force that protects America. So for a good day for me, that resonates with me more than anything in my life was given that. And that goes with me every day, and I believe it's helped turn me into the man I am today.
It's awesome, man. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, the organization.
So, Emergency Operations Proving Grounds. I've kept notes ever since 9/11. I got out of the Marine Corps just before the towers were hit. I was in the process of figuring out how to become a police officer, which was my lifelong goal. And that's another funny story real quickly. I kept asking police officers in the North Texas area, hey man, how do I become a police officer? And at that time, everybody was full staffed. So it's like, just go apply. Well, I would go apply and I wouldn't hear anything back. And I'm like, there's gotta be some type of weird, and nobody would answer it. So one day I was so frustrated. I was working for an armored guard company, and I saw a state trooper on the side of the road. And everybody says, if you want to know, you need to ask a state trooper how to become a police officer. So I floored it. And I got him to stop me. I didn't know, was that the smart thing to do? Was it not? I see a state trooper, and everybody knows a Texas state trooper. When you see it, the first thing you do is slow down because of the reputation that they have. And that's a good reputation to have. But I did the Marine Corps thing and I floored it. I wasn't excessive. I mean, the speed limit was 40 and I may have been going 51. So I went past him. Of course, I got his attention. He pulled me over. Lunch, and 4 hours later, I had a walking plan based off that traffic stop from that amazing trooper. I'm not going to say his name. I am still in contact with him, but I want to, obviously ask him first. Good friend of mine now. And he walked me through the process of how to become, back at the time, T-Close certified, now T-Cole certified in the state of Texas. But because of that contact, I was able to lay down my career path. So now that
you did not get a ticket, I'm assuming?
I got a verbal and written warning, a very harsh one, that you ever do that again, I'll write you a ticket. So I still to this day keep my speeds low, even being a police officer, because that's got nothing to do with it, but you try to lead by example. So Emergency Operations Proving Grounds, what I've created was, like I said, I kept notes ever since becoming a police officer on the communication issues that I noticed within my department. All departments across the United States had a communication issue, not necessarily their fault. They have to take a little bit of it because you need to reach out and figure out how do we make the communication better. And I'm going to explain to you what I'm talking about communication. So you have a 911 dispatch center, and most of them around the country have, for how big of the city is, you're going to have an average in between one person in there doing everything for a small city up to a large city. You could have up to 50 or 60. So I'll give you an example. Somebody calls 911. The person has to determine, is this a medical emergency, a police issue, or a fire issue, and then they have to type what the person is saying and be a detective in their own sense as a dispatcher, and then that goes to the appropriate personnel. So that takes time. Time is wasted either on the person dying from choking or what have you, what the situation, whatever you can think of, what happens. So what we're doing is we're helping to facilitate or show departments how to communicate more effectively and faster to get the first responders on scene in a much more timely manner and with more information needed to do so. So when we train, I'll give you an example, make up a city name, and we want to bring that police department from that city, the fire department from the city, EMS, and their dispatchers. We can recreate large events that's happened in this country, from ambush-style shootings in Dallas to Baton Rouge, the unfortunate events that now we have to learn off of. So we can recreate these events to scale to where we can put another large PD through the process of what happened, see if they could diagnose it themselves and do it faster and better to try to save lives. And then we can put in our input and more collective think tank minds. We can come up with policies to better dispatch the correct personnel quicker.
Awesome.
If that makes sense. But we also deal with PTS with veterans, PTS with first responders. Unfortunately, the veterans, everybody knows that they don't get the attention the proper care that they need.
Right.
And so we're helping to address that as well by bringing in the right companies.
How can people learn more?
Basically, you can look up Emergency Operations Proving Grounds on the internet by going to eopg.org.
Awesome.
It all explains in there what to do, and fill out the contact us form or donate, whatever you want to do to help the cause.
Awesome. And guys, for those of you who have been following the series and what we're doing with Operation Innocence, you can feel free to check out protectingthekids.com. You can learn more about what we're doing. We'll keep you up to date on the deliverables. And if you have ideas and recommendations for how to keep kids safe, check it out. They're very, very blessed to have you come all the way out from my favorite state to this lousy one that probably taxed you on the way in and the way out. But thanks for joining us, brother. Thanks for what you do. Guys, thank you for taking the 2 seconds it's going to take you to hit that share button. God bless America.